Now that's significant. The Market Research Podcast.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on this latest episode of Now That's Significant, a market research podcast. This is your host, Michael Howard, the head of marketing at Infotools. Today, we're joined by Holger Geissler, Managing Director of Succeet, organizer of the leading European trade fair for insights, data and analytics. He's also a Managing Director and founder of Smart News Publishing House, which operates the business portal Marktforschung. You have to pronounce it for me properly. The German word for market research, and consulting.de.
This is quite international.
Got it. He previously worked for over 20 years as a market researcher, including as a member of the management board for the research agency YouGov. Thanks for joining us on the show, Holger.
Yeah, nice to having me. Thank you.
So, Holger, what's the most significant thing you're going to tell us today?
Well, I will speak about the Succeet because that takes, it will take place in 1 month. It's end of October. It's four weeks to go. And this is quite exciting for us because we're at the moment, we're really preparing a lot of stuff. We're really looking forward to that event. Well, the whole industry in Germany looking forward to the event, and that's what we talk about.
Yeah, nice. So,
and also about the changes, what happened in market research. Sorry to add that.
It's okay. No, looking forward to hearing. So, tell us a little bit about these changes. What things do you have in mind when you say that?
That the industry changed. The biggest change at the moment is AI, but the industry changed in the last years quite a lot. I think the big thing is that it's more digital, it's more automized, and I would say the value of research is different nowadays, because back in the days there were the market research agency, and now we have the democratization. Everyone is able to run their own survey with tools, so we have a lot more players in the market research industry, that just software houses providing tools to conduct research. This is something new. And the relevance of market research full service agencies has declined on the other hand. So this is this huge trend of that more and more surveys are performed at the moment, but less from experienced market researchers. So a lot of new topics, a lot of new changes, therefore, in the market. Then we have this big customer experience trend. A lot of research is conducted by companies that doesn't seem themselves to be market researcher, but doing more or less the same stuff that market researchers do. I think that are the huge trends. And then we had that pandemic 3 years that also changed a lot. Quite in Germany, you see that the qualitative research is different than it was before, much more doing remote testing. So big changes in the last years. And now we have AI.
We couldn't leave this podcast without mentioning that, could we? So we will touch on that shortly, but who exactly is a conference like Succeet for? Who should be attending if they already aren't?
Well, first, everyone that is having a market research agency should be there. Usually should exhibit and should have a stand there, a booth on the trade show, because it's the place to be. And everyone that is interested in market research or customer experience research should be in Wiesbaden for these 2 days. And usually they are, because this is the big event in Germany, in the DACH region, also in Austria and in Switzerland, because it's really the place where things are discussed, where everyone demonstrates their new tools and shows what is new. And when you really have answers about, I don't know where the market research industry is heading to, then you should come to Wiesbaden, because it's really the event for the market research industry in Germany in the year.
Are there any particular differences about market research and how it's conducted in Germany as opposed to what further afield?
That's a good question. I perceive the market research industry in German-speaking countries a bit more conservative compared to other countries, for example, UK or in the US. This is something to do with we have strong industry associations, which really clear regulatory guidelines. This is, I think that's the word I'm looking for. So usually the market research here is a bit more conservative compared to other countries. But the funny thing at the moment is that we don't see due to AI, we see a lot of new things arising. We see a lot of companies embracing the new possibilities. And to be honest, that is something that really surprises me when I look at the program and the presentations that we will have at Succeed, how much new things will be presented there.
Do you care to give us a little inside word on what some of these new things might be?
Well, to be honest, I expected that we will have a when we planned Succeed, let me put it this way, when we planned Succeed, we expected that we will have a lot of presentations about AI. And I thought that will mostly touch about the things that you can do with open ends, analyzing open ends, coding, automated coding of open ends, but it's much more than that. So you see a really broad majority of ways where market researchers use AI to automate their process, to put new things, to doing research without even respondents like that. I don't know. Well, you have to. How is that synthesized?
Synthetic respondent.
Thank you for that.
Right.
So it's really I would say it's a jump into the next area of market research, and I'm really surprised about how that this challenge that AI is for the market research, for the research industry, that it is really that they really embrace that change at the moment. So and this is exciting at least I found that exciting.
Yeah, it is going to be really fascinating how it does play out, the whole synthetic respondents, etc. The data, and because researchers, we love to have our confidence levels, 90, our margins of error, etc. as well. So when you think about that, data quality is going to be a huge piece in the future, more so than now, but the data auditability as well. So being able to prove like what's in your data set, what you're actually analyzing from.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, that you mentioned the topic of data quality. And this is also a topic that will be highly discussed at Succeed, because it's really the discussion really arrived here in Germany. So I think the data quality is also one of the most important topics at the moment, and for the next years. And we see very interesting solutions here and providers that have good solutions to at least finding fraud in your data. So I don't know if this is the answer always to identify fraud or what, but I think we need more discussion how to prevent fraud when we really developing questionnaires and making surveys different. And for example, I found what I really are looking for is these companies that try to implement interview bots and have much more adaptive questionnaires than before. And I find that interesting, because I think what one of the biggest problem of our industry is that questionnaires are usually quite boring and repetitive. And you can also you can use AI to change this, to make questionnaires more interesting, like an interesting talk with someone, and not just boring stuff and formulas to fill in.
Yeah, and if it does it particularly in real time as well, it'll be interesting. The subtleties in languages, are quite complex, and the nuances, etc. So being able to compare answers as well, it's going to be quite fascinating.
Yeah, I assume that too. Yes.
So artificial intelligence, as we've heard it and been talking about, it is doing the rounds. Do you know how much it has actually spread and been implemented across Europe, across Germany, your part of the world?
Yeah. Well,
within the
I would
insights
say,
industry, that is. So
yeah. Well, I think it's not only on the conference, it will be the topic number one, but when we look at the majority of exhibitors, so on the trade show, I would say more or less everyone has trying things with artificial intelligence. So I would say it's already quite big. There are also players that probably are still a bit waiting, but I would say the most companies that come to Wiesbaden to join Succeet has some solutions that in any way touch AI. And it's, as I said before, it's much more than just analyzing open ends. So they really trying things, they're really experimenting. And this is quite the difference to the conferences that we had in the past 2 years after Corona. And this is totally different to what we saw before Corona. So this is really something that I've never seen in that way in the last 25 years that I joined when I was part of the market research industry.
Now, you'd expect that AI would be reserved for a lot of your startups because they're nimble, they can trial and error a lot easily. There's not as much risk involved. Are you seeing it from the larger players as well?
Well, there are, you're right there. The startups do. We have a lot of startups that come with an idea based on AI. But if you have a look at, for example, Kantar, they are really, or Ipsos, they're really experimenting and have already quite interesting AI solutions. We already have one big broadcasting station here in Germany called RTL, which is a television broadcaster, and they have a huge team of data scientists, and they invented their own AI tool based on predicting the quality of TV commercials out of AI. So you don't have to ask anyone; it's just the AI that rates the TV commercial, and I found that quite interesting. So it's not only the startups that using AI, but it's also the big players, and it's also surprisingly the institutes that have a focus on qualitative research. It surprises me a bit, to be honest. I always thought more in quantitative here, but also the qualitative researcher trying things using AI to help them. I don't know where that comes from, but it's really something I perceive new in the industry, because usually the industry was quite conservative, and that changed a bit.
Nice. I challenged you during the conference to have an AI-free hour, so a time where you're not allowed to talk about AI at all, because there's a lot of other topics that need to be discussed as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples that that will be discussed at the event?
Well, one thing, but there will also be AI in the discussions is customer experience. We have about 30 presentations dealing with customer experience. So I would imagine there are also a lot of presentations without AI here. Then we have a lot of presentations just dealing with surveys, with interesting studies where people have topics about, I don't know, diversity, gender, recruiting stuff, and that. So it won't not every presentation will be about AI, but I'm surprised at least at how many have that in their title or in their description. So I would expect a lot of things but for example, I will have or a colleague of me will having a panel discussion about just the perception or the image of the market research industry for students. So this will be something where AI will only be a side effect. I will moderate this panel discussions about the future of market research. So there will be definitely AI on that, I expect. But you're right. Probably it's then in the networking hours, in the evening hours when we drink beer and eat together, so probably there won't be that much AI around that.
No, so are there any novelties that any differences or new things that people may see at Succeet this year?
Well, the big thing, to be the biggest novelty, is that we moved the trade show from Munich to Wiesbaden. Wiesbaden is near Frankfurt, and Frankfurt is the biggest. In Frankfurt is the biggest airport in Germany, so it's quite easy to travel to Wiesbaden. It's just a ride with a regional train to Wiesbaden from the Frankfurt airport. So it's in the middle. This is the biggest thing, because Bavaria, where Munich is in Bavaria, and this is in the south part of Germany. Now we're in the middle of Germany, which definitely makes a difference, because it's much easier for most of the people to come to Wiesbaden. That is the biggest thing that changed. We also changed a lot of small things, because we run a survey after the last trade show, and we got a lot of feedback, and we really improved a lot of smaller things that everyone will experience and feel, but these are not big things. One of the really novelty for the whole research sector here in Germany is we introduced the Succeed Award. Award is usually nothing new, because there are a lot of awards, but this is really different. The Succeed Award, is based on do you know what Kaggle is? Have you heard about that website, Kaggle?
I did briefly, but for the listeners, do you mind explaining?
Yeah, well, Kaggle is a website where, when you have, as a company, when you have a problem in programming or in AI or something where you don't need, then you make a challenge out of Kaggle, and every coder can propose or can submit his proposal on that challenge and earns money on that. And that principle, we adopted that principle to market research, to that Succeed Award. So we sat together with some company researchers and looked about what are the main unsolved challenges in research in Germany. And there were quite an interesting list of problems that can come over and over again, and you don't have a really good research solution for that. And two of the challenges we defined two of that challenges as problems that every exhibitor could provide their solution to that problems. And then we had that a jury who put out, or who nominated three of that proposals to the final round, and we will have two finals at the Succeed. And at the end of that finals, the audience will decide via online voting which company will win that Succeed Award. So there will be. So this is really different. So it's not an award that the jury just says we give that to Kantar or YouGov or what else, but it's really something that will be voted by the audience. It's really based on finding the best solution on a special topic.
Oh, cool. Succeed's got talent.
It's really like that. The research got talent. It goes in that direction. You're right.
No, cool. There should be some. Should be an interesting watch. I'll make sure to catch up once that's done. So you've mentioned a number of startups so far. Who should we be looking out for? What are some ones that have caught your eye?
Yeah, there is a startup area, so it's really easy to locate all the startups. There will be over 20 startups presenting themselves. There also will be an open stage where they have they demonstrate their tools, their solutions. I found, well, of course, the AI related startups extremely interesting. For example, AimPower. They're already they're already some quite successful with their approach. Then we have Redem, which is an Austrian startup. I find interesting. They using AI to detect survey fraud. We just spoke about that. And there is also one startup from Poland called Wise Rabbit, which I found quite interesting. They participated in that Succeed Award with 2 proposals, and one made it to the final. And they're really fresh thinking, so that you could really have fun. I haven't met that before. I only got in contact with them per email, but I'm really looking forward to meet them in Wiesbaden. They seem to be quite different to other agencies.
Cool. So we've talked about it being quite a German-centric event, but what about international visitors or national visitors from your neighbors, for instance? Do we need to learn German, go on a crash course before visiting, or will it be quite open?
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you can visit. You can visit Germany and the Wiesbaden, the trade show, without speaking German. I think it's good at least to have some phrases. So for especially when you go out to the networking events, you should be able to order a beer in German. So I would really propose to do that crash course of just a bit of socializing. The 2 days of Succeed, you don't need to speak German, because we have in the 2 biggest lecture rooms, we have a simultaneous translation. So if the discussion or the presentation is in German, it will be simultaneously translated. So this is quite new. And you find in every time slot over the 2 days, you find at least 3 presentations that will be held in English. So I think there's a thing. And to be honest, the most exhibitors are already international companies or in Germany working internationally. So everyone that will visit Succeed is able to speak English. But for the socializing events, I would highly recommend at least to have a tutorial, YouTube tutorial while you fly to Germany.
The only German that got drummed into me was "Du kannst kein Fußball spielen."
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, there's also but this is not really a quite a big. There's a football team in Wiesbaden, SVW in Wiesbaden. They just had a game yesterday evening, and lost in the first round of the cup, of the German Cup. They are not that big, to be honest. They play in the second league.
Yeah.
Besides that, Germany and football is already a big topic, but you know that we are not that good anymore. So,
well, Bayern Munich will still win, won't they? So
yeah, I hope so.
Cool. So before we close, did you have any final comments or points you wanted to make about the show, the industry, or both?
Well, I'm really looking forward to that event. I would love to see many people. It's also something like to meet old friends in some way. A lot of people that you haven't seen in the last years, because in the last year of the pandemic, the situation even at Succeed was different. So I hope that we will have the first normal year, and I expect a really something like a fresh and modern trade show, because that building that we have in Wiesbaden is really new. They finished it just before the pandemic, so it really looks new. It looks modern. It's a sustainable building. So it's different. It's the heart of the city. So it's quite nearby. You arrive at the main station in Wiesbaden and you travel. You can walk there. It's about walking distance, 10 minutes from the main station to the conference. This is totally different to what we have, but what was in Munich, because there we were in the industry area with that trade show. It's so, and I really think that market research belongs in the heart of a country, in the heart of a city. So I think this will do something with the people that attend the trade show. And Wiesbaden is a really nice town. It's a really nice city. Well, it's everything much nearer compared to Munich, for example, where you have quite long distance, or compared to London, or so it's really nearby. And I think this will has their spirit, and you will see researchers all over the place. So I think that will be a cool event.
I just had one last question. The mix of client-side agencies and vendors attending, in terms of numbers, do you have? We have about
130 exhibitors and vendors, so much bigger as compared, for example, with the ESOMAR conference here in Amsterdam 2 weeks ago. It's by far the biggest trade show in Europe. I don't know how big the trade shows in the UK or in America are, but well, it's really a lot to see and a lot of people to meet there.
Yeah, and then obviously a good mix of client-side researchers there as well.
Yeah, well, it's what's for the most people the attending is free, because we have codes for voucher codes to go there for free. So, and as we are in the middle of Germany, I think it will be really packed and full, and there will be a huge crowd there attending. But I don't think, well, the building is big enough so that it won't get crowded, but there will be a lot of people there.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing some photos and seeing how it all goes on.
Yeah, you should come over.
I would love to.
Yeah, but I wasn't in the US in the last years attending events, so that is usually well for us here in Europe, when there is something in Amsterdam, also in the countries nearby Germany, then it's okay to travel. But trip to Toronto, for example, to the ESOMAR is quite a trip. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on and on the conference, and all the best for the final little touches. Yes, I have organized some events in the past, not to this extent, but yes, I know what amount of work goes on, so good on you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all the listeners for joining in. If you do have liked what you've heard today, feel free to check out succeet.com.
No, I think it's .de. It's .de.
Okay.
Succeet. And the Succeet is written with the T at the end.
Yes.
It's not the D. So it's a new name. So it's not Succeed with the D, but with a T.
Okay.
And then .de.
So succeet.de, and you can check out the conference there. Still time to buy tickets if you're interested as well. So it will be at the end of this month. If you have liked what you've heard, you're welcome to leave a review, share it with someone you like as well. We'd very appreciate that. So thank you for listening to Now That's Significant.